everybody? It's your boy McDilligan on the Manja Boy, aka Mr. Tourist. Right here in Bartering, where the slave trade story begins.
And also welcome you to Mobee Slave Relics Museum. The Mobee Slave Relics Museum is where we have the original chains or the shackles that was used on the slave during the time of slavery. And all the shackles inside the museum have been there for over 400 years. So the shackles that we have in the museum, we have the neck lock, we have the ankle lock, we have the wrist lock, we have the mouth clip, we have the iron branding, and the bone breaker. So we also have bone breaker. And we also have the slave drinking water bowl. And also in the museum, we have the grave of the man who tried to stop the trade here in Bartering in 1852.
So, like, who were really selling the slaves? Is it like the Europeans, or is just the black people selling the brothers and sisters? Or like who?
The Europeans are buying from the African chiefs.
From the African chiefs?
Yes. So if you look at the system in those days, we use the monarchy system of government. So everybody are under the control of the kings or the obas and the chiefs in the community. So in those days, we used to have our own slaves, which is we enslave them, not like selling them out for exchange of things.
Okay, so basically, when we have criminals back in those days, they kept in prisons as slaves. But then when the European came and the Europeans suggested they should sell these,
they actually started like forcing our people. So at the other side, they were like trying to compensate and okay, don't worry, we are not forcing you anymore. We just let's make it a business. So that was when they now opened the market. So that means we'll bring the material, the products, we'll hand over the product to the chiefs, then the chiefs will hand over the slaves to us. That's how they do it. So now, here we have the original chains. And this one here, the one I'm holding like this is called the neck lock. A neck lock will be around the slave neck for about 18 hours every day by day if they are still within Bartering.
Within
Bartering, yeah. That means the ship have not arrived at the point of no return. And they can't just be keeping them in the barrack or in the cell. So they have to be working for the ships before taking them to all these European countries and Americans. So whenever the ship have arrived, that means every slaves have to be on a single file, facing the same direction, with the neck lock around their neck. Now this neck lock will be connecting them neck to neck, neck to neck, neck to neck. So let's say they are having about 100 slaves. So they have to start from the number one to the last person on the queue, being connected together.
So what does this weigh? I mean, like this is
like
pretty,
now, like that is about 10 kilo.
Yeah, this is pretty heavy, like 10 kilos, and you have this over 100 slaves. So they have to wear this for 18 good hours before the ship, arrives.
Yeah. So now, whenever they're taking them through the point of no return, with the shackles around their necks, that means the shackles have to be on the slave for about 2 months before they get to their final destination.
So it takes 2 months to get from here to the Caribbean to get to the Americas.
So now, why this one here? This one is called a light chain. The light chain is being used for babies. That is
babies.
Yeah, babies. That is using it to chain two babies together for them not to be able to disturb their mother while walking.
Oh my God, babies.
Yeah, babies.
These are baby chains this is unimaginable for having chains for babies.
And this one here is called the mouth clip or the mouth lock.
Oh my God.
Now before fixing it, they have to use this one here for iron branding or bone breaker.
Bone breaker?
Yeah, iron branding or bone breaker, because this is being used for different purposes. But the first use of this is by putting it to fire when it's very hot, then it kills your lip.
Oh my God.
Up and down. Then they fix this and use a small padlock to lock up the amount. That is for them not to be able to eat while working in the sugarcane plantation. So this one here is called the wrist lock. This is for punishment. That means any slave who refuses to work in a sugarcane plantation will be punished.
Do we have notable people who have been, before taking,
Maybe yes. So now they have to force this up to the wrist.
Oh,
but if the hand of the slave is too big, that means they have to break the bone of the hand. They have to break it, then the hand will have to be very soft. They force it here and they unscrew this knot here and fix it under a tree. That is by hanging the slaves to death.
Oh my God.
So the reason why they are doing all this to them is just for the other ones to learn from others' mistakes. Now the other use of this is the reason why they call it iron branding. Slave don't get names, they get their master's name.
Yeah, I mean that's why we have a lot of foreign names, not African names.
Yes. So names we bear in Africa used to be very difficult for the Europeans to pronounce. So that was the reason why they said slave don't bear names, they bear their master's name. So they have to put it to fire when it's very hot. They don't write the name of the master. Like me now, my name is Oluwafemi.
So they can't pronounce your name, they'll probably give you like Johnson and
exactly.
just a name.
So now if I belong to Johnson, that means they have to write Johnson or in abbreviation at my chest or at my back. So that when Johnson gets his final destination, he will be able to identify me as his own slave.
So that means you have a lot of Johnsons, like, you know. Do they have like first name, or you have Johnson?
Now let's say if the master is Johnson and he's buying 50 slaves from here, all the 50 slaves have to be a Johnson. If you have another buyer which is called Williams, all the slaves have to be a Williams. So that Williams just be like the surname. So maybe when they get over there, you can give them another name or the second name.
Like the first name.
Yeah, exactly. So this one here is called the ankle lock. Ankle lock is being used for 2 slaves at a time. Something like this, yeah. Or let's try it together. Let's try it together. So something like this. Then we'll lock.
Oh my God.
Then we have to be working together.
Oh my God.
So I'm just taking a step. Let's take a step.
Jeez.
Something like that. Then we have to be working together. And these are parts of the European products that was using exchange of slaves.
This is a small arsenal.
So this is a cannon gun. So the small cannon gun was using exchange of 40 slaves.
40 slaves?
Yeah, while the bigger one outside, each of it was using exchange of 100 slaves. So now we have 2 big cannon gun outside and small one inside. That means 240 people or 240 slaves have gone for the 3 cannon guns. Now, a dry gin, which we call otiuyibo in our local dialect. Each of these was an exchange of 10 slaves.
10 slaves for a bottle of this is gin, a local made gin for 10 slaves. So is this like the real bottle they use?
No.
This
This is the real one here. So even the real one is not even as big as that. This is for 10.
So this is the remnants that was left of the original bottles. So with this bottle of gin, you could get 5 slaves, 5 people, and with this you could get 10. So my great grandfather was sold for this.
So at the other side there we have a slave drinking water bowl. So just imagine, whenever the slave wants to drink water, all they have to do is by putting their mouth into the bowl like this, then their hand have to be tied at the back, and they have to put their mouth like that. They're drinking like animals from the bowl. And it says slave drink water once in a day.
Once a day?
Once in a day. And over here we have the grave of the man called Chief Mobee. Chief Mobee died October 16, 1893.
So that's the Chief Mobee, the popular Chief Mobee.
Yeah, Mobee, yes. And the name called Mobee is an historical name, and that name was derived from the word Obi, kola nut. Obi, kola nut. When Chief Mobee was alive, he was actually one of the slave facilitators, and he was also a chief that was in charge of these quarters. And this quarters was named Boyko quarters.
Boyko,
B-O-E-K-O-H. You sell slaves, someone is ready to sell you. So now if you are in the power to sell and you don't want to sell, someone will sell you. So the only thing you have to do is that you kill yourself, so you don't have to be on the throne.
So basically, it's like, be a middleman, sell slaves,
Yes.
or you're gonna be sold.
Yes.
Or the option is the third option that you get killed.
Yeah, exactly.
So they left with this option: you sell slaves, leave. Don't sell slave, you'll be sold as slave or die.
So, and when Chief Sungu Mobee was alive, the name Mobee, which was given to him by the Europeans, that normally come around these quarters, because these quarters as a whole, or let me say this compound as a whole, used to be a slave depot. So they moved the slave from this area down to the point of no return. That's the reason why we have the slave ports around this area. So from here they can link down to the point of no return. So whenever they arrive here in Badagry, they always come to the palace of Chief Sungu. But Sungu used to be very difficult for the Europeans to pronounce. And this man always presents kola nuts to the white people.
Because I know in the African culture, in the African, you bring cola to your guests, and cola is this is cola. Okay. So in the Yoruba tradition or the Nigerian tradition, it says, "He who brings cola brings life." So this is like something you give to your guests for a good gesture, right? It's
yes.
something you offer your guests. So this is called Obi. And since the Europeans cannot pronounce this, Obi, they just named him Mobee, right?
Just like it was difficult for them to pronounce the name called Sungu, which is his real name, and this man always tell them Mobee, 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 Mobee. So the more he continued telling them Mobee, Mobee, so those people now pick the Mobee out of the Mobee. So Mobee or the Mobee sounds more easier to them, and also it was more easier for them to pronounce. So that is how they now started calling Baba Mobee. Mobee. So they were the one who gave him the spelling of the name and also the pronunciation of the name, which is Mobee. So the family still remain a royal family up to date. So later in 1842, when the missionary arrived here in Badagry.
Quick question.
Okay.
Why did the missionary come?
Okay. So the reason why they came is because just to come and make our people to understand that the trade or the slave trade is not a good business, and also to bring religion and education, or let me say civilization.
Because there's been some arguments that the missionary, the catechists that came for with the Europeans just to preach to us and just to soften our heart. So it's going to make it easier for us for them to get slaves. So they had intentions, that they didn't just bring Christianity right here, that they had intentions. But you're telling me they came to. I don't understand.
What I try to understand about the story or the history is just that these people have been together with the Europeans and the Americans, and they've been coming to take our people. So they now came back again. So it was the year which they came back to preach to our people in good ideas, which is in 1842. So that was when they presented themselves to the chiefs and to the community that we are the good people, we are the missionaries, we want you to stop this trade. We want to know Jesus Christ, we want to know this, we want to know that. So they believe that if everybody should know Jesus Christ, I think they will have that feeling.
Yeah, that's when they brought the Christians in 1852.
In 1842.
1842.
That was when they arrived. So they met the same man, and when they met him, they preached to him. So all you have to do is just to give them land around his
land?
Yes, around his territory, to settle down under his quarters, so that they'll be able to preach to other people in the community.
And get more slaves, and get access to more slaves.
Not like getting slaves. When they came back in 1842, they were not like taking our slave anymore.
Well, because the trade has gone for 400 years.
So now the people we are calling the missionaries, those people that came in those days were the British. They were the one, and the British were among the first countries who stopped slave trade.
If my history is right, I thought the British actually did the slavery.
They did, yeah, but later, they stopped around 1833. That was when they finally stopped.
Well,
so now that was the reason why they came back again.
The British brought slavery. They sold us, and they brought the religion, brought Christianity too, after selling us for 400 years.
Yes. So now they came in, they were like, okay, they preached to him, they did not agree. So the land which he gave to them is the place which we know as the first story building in Nigeria. But in those days it was known as the Missionaries' house. So this one later died in October 16, 1893. That was when he finally died.
1893.
Yes. So they've already stopped the trade here in Badagry, which is in 1886. So he now later died in 1893.
So the slave was stopped 1883 right here.
1886.
86.
1886. Yes. And these are musical instruments that they used in entertain Papa when he was alive. And the musical instrument is called ajogon. You can only find these only in the royal families here in Badagry.
Oh.
So this one here is just like the staff of the office. Whenever the Papa is coming out, then they have to be shaking it. While the other women who marry from the family have to be beating all this, playing and singing in Egon language.
Oh.
So also, the Europeans also do castrate our people, which is the slaves. Castration. So that's the reason why we have this statue here. It said the stubborn castrated slave begging for forgiveness.
So what would you do for you to be castrated? Like, what crime would you have done for them to castrate you?
Maybe by proving stubborn not to work very hard for the master, or maybe he has tried to stay with his other female slaves. Yeah. So those are the reason why they do castrate them, and sometimes they do castrate them for them not to be able to have sexual intercourse like that generally.
That's great.
And for them to have more strength, more power to work very hard for them. So then we can get the years which lecture was stop here.
So this is right here. Let's see right here. Stubborn castrated slave. He's actually begging on his knees, begging for forgiveness.
So we have the years which slavery was stopped in different parts of the world. Yeah. So these are the years slavery was stopped in different parts of the world. So it was finally stopped here in Badagry in 1886, and it was written on that slave markets were closed when the European nation founded colonies after lasting for 300 to 400 years here in Badagry. So in 1886, that was when they finally closed the.
What up, guys? It's your boy Magdalene Manja Boy, aka Mr. Torres, right here in Badagry, Lagos, Nigeria, where the history of black began, where the slave trade story began. Right here, there's a lot of history here. Come around while I'll show you. This is your boy Magdalene the Ninja Boy, aka Mr. Torres. I'm right here, the first story building in Nigeria. This right here is the first building standing in Nigeria. So the building was built by the missionary as a church, and officially this is the first church in Nigeria, and all other denominations broke out from this building and into like all sort of things we have in Nigeria today. So this is the first slave port. When all the slaves are brought right here, they have to like board the boat to get to the other island, where they have to walk few miles to get to the main sea, to get to the Atlantic Sea before they get shipped to Europe. Oh, sorry, before they get shipped to the Americas and to the Caribbean. It's a really sad story, and this is it's very personal to me because my grandfather was actually a slave. It was ending, but he was still captured as a slave. But let's just go. I'm gonna show you guys around. So I'm actually going through the experience back, like I said, that is the port, and once they board right here, they have to get to the other side on the island, and where they have to walk about a mile to get to the Atlantic Ocean, board the smaller boat to get to the bigger boats, and all the way straight to the US, to the Americas, and to the Caribbean. I'm on the other side of the island. I just crossed all the way from there and landed right here. So once the slave get to this point, they have to still walk a few yards. They have to walk a few yards until they get to you have to understand that this is very, very personal to me. Like I said, my grandfather was actually a slave. Yeah, so we're on the island right now. And once they get right here, this is actually what they call the point of no return. Any slave that was brought to this place, any slave that crossed from the mainland to the island right here, that's a done deal. So this is called like the point of no return. And few miles ahead of me is the Atlantic Ocean, where they have to board the smaller boat to get to the bigger boats. So like I said, once the slave they walked, probably like this is probably like a mile with heavy chains of like 10 to 15 pounds, and that's like a lot of like about 300 of them marching all the way, from the island right here. When they get to this well, the chiefs make some concoction right here in the well, and they make the slave drink from the water, which is called the attenuation well. So the concoction right here makes them calm, submissive, just they're not aggressive, they're less aggressive. It makes them lose their memory. They can't never remember their names. You forget your names, where you're from. It's like you go insane. So that's what the well does to them. And like I said, it's mixed with a lot of concoction, like memory loss stuff. So this is the well right here. Once they take this water, that is it. The rest is history. And right here, like about 3 miles, is the Atlantic Ocean, where they've been shipped to the Americas, Caribbeans, and to South Carolina and the US. So this is the history.